Good morning, children. Before few days, you had the chapter "The Adventures of Toto," right? And this video I'm posting for the short revised summary of The Adventures of Toto. I'm sure you have learnt the chapter. You had done the reading of the chapter at your end, but this video shows a short summary. Now the summary is given to children so that whatever they had read, it is shortened into brief so that they don't have to remember everything, right? So the summary part is given for that purpose. So just before your exam, you can go through the summary as well, right? Okay, let us start. What is the theme of the chapter and what do we learn from this chapter? The story revolves around an animal lover, the character of the author's grandfather, and the naughty monkey named Toto. It is a comical story of a mischievous monkey's clowning behavior. As much the story is about Toto, it also throws light on the effect of bringing him home. Many times when people see baby animals, they are tempted to bring them home, not knowing the after effects of it. Keeping a pet is a responsibility and it should be kept under any circumstances. Pets should not be a part of one's family if they are brought in for entertainment purpose, right? Moreover, monkeys cannot be a good house pet for their natural habitat is in the wild. They are meant for wild and love to waste their energy hopping from one to the other tree. Therefore, they cannot be expected to behave like a docile and calm pet dogs that we have in the house. It is true that our furry friends do fancy us a lot, but they should be brought in the house with responsibility and the accountability of the one who brings them in. Animals like monkeys are not to be tamed and domesticated as per one's need, as it will pose a threat for them from the human living, right? Perhaps having Toto brought home to add to his beautiful zoo collection, the grandfather, who was an ardent animal lover, he realized why the Tonga driver kept Toto tied to his Tonga because of this frisky monkey, right? Okay, but it took the grandfather a little time. He realized his mistake, right? Okay, let's go about the short summary. The writer's grandfather purchased a monkey named Toto from a Tonga driver by paying him 5 rupees, as he had a wish to add a monkey to his zoo collection with other animals. He was much impressed with Toto's bright, shiny eyes, which were full of mischief. The eyebrows were deeply set on his face, and his teeth were like those pearls which were enough to frighten anyone when he grinned. Well, the writer's grandmother was against the grandfather's attitude of bringing new pets, new birds, and animals, and she took her own good time to get used with each animal brought by the grandfather. So, Toto was kept tied with a hook in the wall in a little cupboard in the writer's room. But after some time, when the grandfather came to have a look at him, what did he see? He saw Toto had not only torn the decorative wallpaper, but also broken the hook and had escaped from his binding. He tore the writer's blazer also into the thin pieces, like the way we shred the papers in the shredder. Now, you see, instead of getting angry at all the damage that was created by Toto, the grandfather was pleased with Toto's performance. He thought the monkey was clever enough to create the damage and to flee the place before anybody comes and catch him. Well, this speaks of his kind and generous persona towards animals. Toto was then shifted to the servants' quarter. But there also he did not let the animals sleep at night. Once the grandfather, when he had to go to Saharanpur to collect his pension, he had to take Toto with him for this reason. Toto remained secured in grandfather's bag till Saharanpur. But at the railway station, when he got off at Saharanpur, Toto peeked out of the bag and smiled at the ticket collector. Somehow, the ticket collector qualified Toto in the category of dogs, and the grandfather had to pay 3 rupees for Toto's ticket. The writer's grandmother finally came to know of Toto's presence in the house. She allotted him a space in the stable along with the family donkey Nana. But there also Toto will not leave Nana the donkey in peace. Right, what did he do there? What mischief and prank he played there? He bit Nana's ear so hard that Nana would drag him on the floor with him. You see, in the servants' quarters, where a number of grandfather's pets lived very sociably and in harmony along with each other, right? A tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and a pet goat as well. You see, they all lived happily with each other. But ever since Toto was kept with them, both Nana and Toto never became friends for this reason. Right? Okay. During the winter season, Toto enjoyed having a warm bath. The writer recollects an incident when Toto had almost boiled himself. When Toto kept on jumping in the large kettle kept for hot water to get boiled. Yes, what happened was a large kitchen kettle was left on the fire to boil water for tea. And Toto, finding himself with nothing better to do, decided to remove the lid. Finding the water just warm enough for a bath, he got in, with his head sticking out from the open kettle. Perhaps he thought this water is kept for him to take bath, so he would love to bathe into it. Okay, Well, this was okay for a while, but as the water started boiling, until the water began to boil, Toto then raised himself a little because he could feel the heat right coming through the bottom. But finding it cold outside, he still remained down there again. He continued hopping up and down for some time until the grandmother arrived and took him out half boiled out of the kettle. So, this is what has happened once in the narrator's house, at his grandfather's house. The writer also narrates a funny incident that took place during the lunch hours. Once, when Toto took the rice plate kept on the table and finished it all by himself, followed by throwing the empty plate in front of the grandmother, for she shouted at him. What happened then? Once during the lunch time, a large dish of pulao was kept in the center of the dining table. As soon as the family entered the room to find, they came to take the lunch. But what did they find? They find Toto stuffing himself with a lot of rice in his mouth. As soon as my grandmother, that means the narrator's grandmother, looked at the sight, she screamed. And what did Toto do? Toto threw a plate at her. When the grandfather arrived, Toto picked up the dish of pulao and made his exit through the window. What did he do going out of the window? He sat into the branches of the jackfruit tree, holding the dish, the plate, still in his arms. He remained there on the jackfruit tree all afternoon, eating slowly through the rice, and so determined on finishing every grain. And because he was not happy with the grandmother, because she shouted at him, she screamed at him, what did he do? He threw that empty dish, the plate, down from the tree. And he chattered with delight when it broke into 100 pieces with a big clatter. Okay, this was too much. See, finally, the grandfather realized that Toto was not suitable to be kept at home. They could not afford the frequent losses that he gave them. He tore the clothes, the curtains, ripped the wallpapers, and broke the dishes and the utensils. So the grandfather sold Toto back to the same Tonga driver for a sum of 3 rupees. You see what moral comes out from this chapter? Monkeys are a very frisky pets. The story teaches us not to keep wild animals as pets in the house unless one has a proper knowledge and information about how to look after them well. One should not get carried away by the charm they appear to have, because each animal has his own characteristics. If one loves animals truly, then he should not take them away from their natural residence, and that is wild. Taking them away from their own house is like breaching their animals' rights. They have rights the way we have human rights, they have animal rights. and we cannot violate their rights. They need their own friends to live with, to communicate with, and we cannot force them to live with us just because we like them. We cannot tame them, we cannot train them to live with human beings. You see, it will be very difficult for them. This will pose a threat to them. Yes, that means they will definitely miss out, seeing their own friends, seeing their own beings, their own animal friends. So it will be a wrong decision from one if they are thinking especially to bring a monkey into the house as a house pet, because they don't make a good house pet. They need a lot of space to jump around, to hop around, and definitely if still you try to tame them, they'll go creating damage in the house the way Toto did. And the writer's grandfather's house was, they were not so affluent who could really afford the everyday loss. So as a result, the grandfather had to sold him. He had to sell him back to the same Tonga driver. What he could do, though he was an animal lover, he loved to have a monkey, and because he wanted to give him a comfortable life, he brought the monkey in, because he was taken in by the pity when he saw a monkey was tied with a tonga, jumping here and there and trying to escape the the gallows. But he could not, unfortunately. He had to go back to the same place. So one has to be very careful about choosing a house pet, and once if you are bringing in, they must be feeling responsible for them, right? Okay, so that was it. That was the summary. You can utilize the summary. You can also take references from the textbook when you have to answer the questions. This is a humorous story with the theme of monkey cannot make a good house pet. A mischievous story. Yes, a funny story, a comical story written by Ruskin Bond. You still have any more questions, or you want me to explain things more into detail? You can always write to me or give a buzz during the live session, and we shall try to do the needful. Right? Till then, all keep learning. You stay home and stay safe. Keep reading the chapter also at the same time. Right? Thank you.